where do the seafarers go? If the thing explodes, who is responsible? What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. There has been a major catastrophe off the coast of Sri Lanka near a port called Colombo. A ship called PressPearl has exploded and is totally engulfed in flames. Firefighting operations and salvage operations are being conducted at the moment, but the ship poses a major hazard to the environment due to a major oil spill. I will cover this topic and tell you what could be the possible reasons of this explosion. So don't forget to watch the video till the end. So let's just first dive down into the details of PressPearl. The source is marinetraffic.com. So as you see on the screen, the PressPearl is a Singapore flag ship with the IMO number of 9875343. IMO number is like a chassis number of a car. It will stay embedded on the ship's hull throughout its lifetime. The last course was from Hazy in Gujarat, India to Colombo, Sri Lanka, and the ETA was 20th of May 2021, which is when exactly the ship caught fire and exploded. So moving on to the map, this is exact location of PressPearl at the moment, and if we zoom in over here, you can see multiple tugs and special aircraft in the salvage and firefighting operations. The port of Colombo is somewhere over here. So the port of Colombo is actually pretty big. As you can see over here in the map, there are multiple terminals. You can see here ships lined up. This is the old terminal on both the sides. There's a dock over here, and this is the new terminal where big container ships generally come and berth. This is the standard route which we take for the approach. There is the anchorage, and now I'm going to show you a video I made in the port of Colombo for a better reference. There's the city, and that would be the breakwater. Moving on onto the actual footage of the fire. This source is from Air Force Media, and you will see that the ship is totally engulfed in fire, especially the forward part. That's the crane of the ship. This is the bow section, and you will see that the accommodation is full of smoke. And yeah, the bay number 10, 14, 18. I'll just explain to you what are bays. So as you see from the aerial view, starting from the forward, Bay 02 is the 40-foot container. Next 40-foot container is Bay 06, then 10, 14, 18, 22, 26, 30, 34, and it carries on. And usually we carry dangerous cargo in the forward bays so that it is away from the accommodation, and situation like this happens, so at least you have time to take the lifeboat and abandon the ship. So you can see here on the screen there is already floating debris, cargo, oil, chemical, anything and everything inside the container already started floating. This is where the situation starts getting really serious, and you will see that the tugs and the salvage crafts have already started testing their firefighting equipments in order to extinguish this fire. If you pay closer attention to the screen, you will see the anchor cable over here. So the vessel is at anchor and it won't drift away, causing further damage. And I can see on the screen this container, particularly the white container, already almost in water. So there are going to be many containers which will fall down like this, causing more pollution. PressPearl was carrying about 1486 containers, out of which it had about 25 tons of nitric acid and many other dangerous chemicals. Now dangerous goods need special attention and need to be stored according to the IMDG code. Let me explain IMDG in a little more detail. This is the official website of IMO, which is International Maritime Organization. Now what IMO does is IMO sets standards for the safety and security of international shipping. I have gone onto the section called the International Maritime Dangerous Goods IMDG code. IMDG code basically deals with maritime transport of dangerous goods in packed form in order to enhance and harmonize the safe carriage of dangerous goods and to prevent pollution of the environment. As you see here, IMDG divided into 3 volumes. First, Volume 1, Volume 2 and supplements. As seafarers on board, we need to have thorough knowledge about Volume 2 and supplements. Volume 1 deals with the show team. To cut it short, the IMDG goods on board PressPearl, like the nitric acid and rest of the chemicals, should have been stored according to the IMDG Volume 1, 2 and supplements. So it is the responsibility of the chief officer and the captain prior departure from the port, which in this case was Hazira in India, to check that everything is being complied with, and it is the duty of the junior officer like the third officer or the second officer to check physical location of the container which carries dangerous goods, that they are in good condition, there are no damages or there aren't any leaks. If so, it has to be reported to the port and the container has to be discharged immediately. It's confirmed that PressPearl was carrying nitric acid, so I did some research in volume 2 and supplements of IMDG code, and I found one data sheet which I'll show it to you now. So this is the safety data sheet which I was talking about, and we are concerned with this column, particularly EMS code, which says FASB. So basically EMS code is found in the supplements of IMDG code, and FA is a table which tells us how to fight the fire of nitric acid, and SB is basically if there is a spill, how to contain that spill. Now the good news here is it says marine pollutant, no. So nitric acid is not a marine pollutant, but in case of PressPearl there is oil in the engine, so if the ship sinks, which they are saying it might, it will cause a big oil pollution which will be catastrophic. So let's get down to the point of why this actually happened. The source is splash247.com, and the executive chairman of Express Feeders said that the poor packaging was responsible for the acid leak. This is 100% possible because I have seen it with my own eyes. On one of the ships I was on, the container was leaking and we could see that it was corrosive. So immediately we quarantined that place. No one was allowed to go near that space, and it had to be discharged onto the port, and it was undeclared IMDG cargo. Yes, that's the ugly truth. Undeclared IMDG cargo is still being carried on board. It poses a major fire hazard, and many ships have caught fire because of this. The shore team now has become quite stringent with all of this, and we as seafarers cannot do much since we don't know what's going inside the containers except for reefers and DG cargos. So I definitely think this is a big issue in the maritime sector and has to be addressed ASAP. Speaking about that, the crew had actually detected this while in Arabian Sea, thousands of kilometers away from Sri Lanka. On detecting the leak, the ship captain then contacted two ports, Hazira and Hamad in Qatar, and both of them denied the request, and the ship made its way to Colombo. It was a case of not my backyard syndrome. If you guys have a look at this disaster could have been prevented had those ports done their duty and taken in the cargo rather than endangering the crew and the ship. 110% agreed on this fact or comment. If you're wondering that this happens rarely, then you're terribly mistaken because this happens a lot. I have personally sailed with seafarers who have faced similar situations where there was a leaking DG and no country was willing to accept them. They had to stay offshore, and only a barge or a small crane would come and take out that container, which costed the company a lot of money and time. Also, in one of the reports, it is outlined that the three main reasons for fire seen historically are: number 1, self-heating charcoal; second, chemicals incorrectly packaged; third is batteries. And the biggest threat to container shipping is fire on board on ships. This is definitely true and has caused a lot of damage to the cargo, people and property and the environment. Now, as per the sources in G Captain, I read the preliminary investigations indicate that fire started due to a chemical reaction of the hazardous cargo. As I mentioned, that the vessel was carrying not just one but many types of chemicals, so definitely one chemical will react with the other and it causes a chain reaction which eventually led to an explosion. The only good news I read was that all 25 crew members and the salvage team have been safely evacuated. So in the world of maritime, the immediate priority is safety of life at sea, second is the environment, and third is the cargo. So as per sources from the Sri Lankan Navy, there was high winds overnight which caused the entire ship to burn, including the bridge. In the maritime world, there are limited resources to fight fire or perhaps emergency resources because you are isolated. So 3-4 tugs cannot extinguish a fire which is that big, and such a situation also happened with one of our Maersk ships it was Maersk Honam, which totally got burnt from the forward of the bridge, and the rest of the ship was still intact and it had to be cut in half. So guys, as you see on the weather forecast from windy.com, the vessel is somewhere here, PressPearl, and the winds are gusting to 63 kilometers per hour. Remember, there's a cyclone going on Bay of Bengal and in Arabian Sea, so it doesn't look very good. Also on 28th, 29th, the winds don't seem to die down. So already the entire ship has burned. The only thing now which I think is really of concern is the entire ship sinking and the cargo being lost, which is, I think, inevitable. So let's see what the Coast Guard has in mind. Rough weather also poses a bigger threat, which is the ship starts listing to one side, which is left or right or port or starboard. In case of PressPearl, it started listing to starboard side and lost many containers. Now, when containers start going overboard, they contain chemicals and hazardous material. Now, this starts floating on the sea, and when it reaches the shore, then definitely if someone comes in contact with them, it can cause really bad injuries. So where do the seafarers go? If the thing explodes, who is responsible? So these are the questions that bother me a lot, and only the investigation will reveal the real truth behind this massive explosion and catastrophe. There is a VDR on board, which is also known as voyage data recorder, which records all the series of events, alarms, and the movement on the bridge. So that will tell us exactly how things unfolded. Let me know in the comment section if you would like to see more investigation videos from me, and if you did like the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you in